Welcome to Sideline Vibes, the Minnesota sports show changing the narrative of Minnesota sports fandom. I'm your host, Derek Long. With me today is a friend of the program and hockey enthusiast, Ian Stewart.
Hello, how are you? It's good to be with you tonight on this fine Martin Luther King Day evening. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, shout out to Martin Luther King. We're going to do a wild halfway point check-in, and also going to do an NHL vibe check, and then, of course, State of the State.
State of the State.
So let's get to it here. Now, first, let's do a little rundown here where the Minnesota Wild kind of stand as of today, January 19th. The Wild just won tonight, so that pushes the record to 26-10-8. They are third in the Central Division, third in the West. That's not going to change for the meanwhile, probably, because we have the two teams that love them. We'll talk about them in a little bit, but it could happen. And then they are at 66 points now. I have to update that. And then third overall in the league. We haven't recorded for a while here, so I did a 2-week update. They're 2-3-1 last week. Some tough losses in there, but they had some injuries they're working through. It seemed like how would you consider the vibes right now of this Minnesota Wild team currently in the middle? Still very elite, or do they seem like a team that's a little bored with regular season hockey?
You know, I think it might be a bit of the latter in this very, very current moment. Now, obviously, I have no insider knowledge of this team, so I no idea what's going on in the locker room. I don't think there's any sort of locker room issues or anything like that. I just wonder, it's those teams where it's they're so good, they almost get bored with the regular season. Then you have other teams like the Avs, who it's I hate to give the Avs any props, but credit where credit's due. They're just a machine. I also think watching it myself and talking to friends of mine and who are big Wild fans, I think the addition of Hughes has obviously changed a lot of things. I think mostly for the positive. I think a side effect. So it's not to say this is a bad trade. I still maintain this is an amazing trade, probably one of the best trades in Wild history, if not the best trade in Wild history. But it'd be I don't know, it'd be a bunch of Honda Civics seeing a Ferrari come on the lot, and then they also want to drive a Ferrari. It's no, you're a Honda Civic. There's nothing wrong with a Honda Civic, and we bought you to be a Honda Civic. Don't try and drive like a Ferrari. I just feel I've seen guys, especially some of the other defensemen, try and do things that he can do. It's no, only he and maybe two other people in the entire world can do that. And that's okay. We brought you in to be a different type of defenseman. Don't be pulling. You're not Hughes, and he's not you, and that's fine. You know what I mean? Know your role kind of thing. So I think as he's been on the team for about a month now, maybe a little more. I think as things continue, it'll continue to get more and more settled. So, but yeah, I love the combination of him and Faber. I hope to see them together at the Olympics too, coming up here in a few weeks. Team USA. So anyway, that's a long way of saying I like where things are at right now. I think the vibes are still very high. I just think it's we're in that middle. I don't want to say lull. We're in the middle of the season right now, and then we have the Olympics coming up soon. So it's I think people are starting to. I'm not saying the players, but maybe the fans. I know I am. I'm enjoying the NHL, but I'm also well, what's waiting for the Olympics. Can't wait for Milan and see how Team USA does. So, yeah, I'd love to reevaluate where we are in a month or two. I mean, okay, my guess is the Wild will be back on being just full steam ahead. Guys will have good Olympic tournaments and come back, and we're gonna go cruising into the playoffs. I'm excited. So, but right now, I think we're good. We have elite. That's what we're here to discuss tonight, right?
Absolutely.
But I think we're good. So
yeah, and so to kind of talk about your point about how teams can change when they make a trade like this, especially in the middle of the season. It's really tough to adjust. We saw with the Wolves, um, the Randall Carl trade. It took a long time to adjust, um, and that was for different reasons, like you're saying. But yeah, it might take some time to kind of for everybody to gel. But obviously, you see that the talent is there, and when you add a player like that to a young team, that I mean, we're not like the youngest team, but we have like our core guys are fairly young. It just makes it really exciting um, to see what they could do this season and in the future, because it's creating this window, and so it's not like an all in move. It's all right. We are starting our window here and see how many championships that we can win or how many we can at least be a part of, which should be an exciting thing for Wild fans. I know that's a scary thing to say, but Sideline Vibes, that's what we do here. We're always optimistic on whatever can happen. Even we don't think about what happened in the past. We're moving on from the past, right? If we're thinking about the now, we're thinking about the future. And so I saw on the broadcast that they talked about how, because Hughes had an assist to Tarasenko. Great. He had a great game as well. We were talking about him at the beginning of the season. I was pretty excited about him. There's my little hockey.
I like him, yeah.
Yeah, he's just scrappy. He just does the right things all the time. Anyways, that Hughes is like one of the best players like in the league. Like these like lengthy, long passes through the zone. I guess I'm not a huge hockey person. Like I didn't play hockey. I loved like going out in the pond and slapping the sticks around, But that's the extent of my hockey like skill. I would never went to like training camp to try to learn different skills. Is that something that is just like a Hughes specific thing, or is that something that like a certain group of guys can do, or is that what I mean? Like is that like a one of the kind thing, or?
I don't know if I'd say it's absolute one of a kind, but he is very good at it, and it's part of the reason why he was brought in. And it was a place where we were lacking before, was that transition out of our D zone and then down the ice in the offensive zone. And that's obviously one of the many ways he can do that. He can hit the stretch pass. He can also get on his horse and skate the puck out. He's very good at moving the puck. When your offense is generated almost entirely from your forwards, it just makes you more, I guess, for lack of a better term, kind of one dimensional. When you can get the D involved, that's always good. I know, not to always bring back to this, but like I remember when like you and I were in college, especially our back half of our college years, and right after, that was something that the Gophers really lacked. I mean, no disrespect to the guys that are on the team, but they didn't have a ton of guys that could really move the puck on the blue line, and it hurt them. You know what I mean? And it was something that also, you watch like Duluth, or even you guys, go Huskies, woo. That they like Duluth had some guys in those like late 2010s national championship teams that like they were totally comfortable and confident. That's a big thing too, about moving the puck around on the blue line. And you're seeing Hughes is like that. I mean, the guy has no fear, and he plays with the puck very confident on his stick, which is a lot of fun to watch. And yeah, he brings an offensive element to the defensive core that we didn't have at all, but we did not have in the way that he brings it now, especially that transition. So you said, like, whether it's a stretch pass, up the ice and hitting guys right on the tape, or or wheeling it out of the zone on his, and just skating it up. He adds another element to the offense, which just can't be overstated enough, like how important that is. So that's been a lot of fun to watch. Because that might be honestly like sneaky. That might be my favorite position in hockey, is an offensive defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
They're so good. Trying to think ones that were fun to watch when we were younger, but yeah, I agree with you. I think him bringing that like stretch pass, it's just we have a whole new level now that we didn't have before he got here, which is fun.
Yeah.
So
it's so kind of comparing it to football now. Because there's not a lot of people, like there might be a lot of people who like watch our show that don't watch a lot of hockey but want to get into hockey. I would say like having like a very offensive minded defensive player is like a very versatile person to have on your team is so valuable. It's like having like a Christian McCaffrey who's like good at running, good at catching and receiving, and like that creates like a
Yeah.
lot of options for you as a team. Um,
Yeah.
and so yeah, it's interesting to kind of I just love when guys are like really good at like certain skills. They're just very interesting to me. It's like the Anthony Edwards, like he just is so good at this step back on the left side, right above the break of the 3-pointer, and he just like constantly makes that all the time. And it's like a kind of odd thing, but okay, let's get into now a vibe check here for the league as a whole. Let's start with. Do you want to start with the teams that you want to move anybody around? So we have again to refresh the viewers. We have Elite Vibes up at the top. So that'd be like your top 4 teams, top 5 teams if you need to. Playoff Vibes is your teams that are kind of like look like they're going to be locks for the playoffs. Good Vibes, anyone who's just on the cusp, not bad, not good, or not great, but just right there. And then Mad Vibes is like, again, not horrendous, but they're just kind of floating in purgatory. And then Bad Vibes, where you're probably gonna get a top 5 pick. So
Yeah.
any of these teams, I just went through the standings, put them in there. I left the Wild out because we're gonna put them in there after we kind of shuffle us a little bit if you need to. We're not gonna go through every team for the sake of time, but anything that stick out that you maybe want to move a certain team or.
Yeah, you know what? It kind of pains me to say this as a Minnesotan, because I know like when you were in college, that era and a little beforehand, the Blackhawks just ruled the roost and owned the Wild, especially in the playoffs. Although I will say my animosity towards them has diminished since they were like really good 10 years ago. I would put them at least up at least one bracket to at least Met Vibes.
Okay.
I know their records aren't great right now. They're they're below 500 barely, 47 points. They're nowhere near making the playoffs. I get that. They got a lot of fun young talent, and I also think just like I think even with the loss last night to the Rams, I think the city of Chicago is I think they're feeling good. You know what I mean? And I think the Blackhawks are kind of swept up in that. So if we were just X's and O's entirely, maybe I'll leave them there where they are. But since this is a vibes podcast, I would give them credit where credit's due. They got a lot of the Bedard, they got a couple of guys. They got Frank Nazer, who was out of Michigan. You have Oliver Moore and Sam Renzel, who are out of University of Minnesota. So obviously a little biased towards those guys, but they got a lot of young, fun guys who are either generational talent like Bedard, who's elite, and then other guys who are either solid or even maybe not in the lineup every night or up and down, but like you can see what they're building towards.
Sure.
So as much as it's fun for the Wild to beat Chicago when they can, I got to give credit where credit's due. And yeah, I'm gonna say I move up one. Trying to think anything else.
Am I able to just bump up without any knowledge of the team? Just bump up the Anaheim Ducks because of their sick logo and their jerseys. Is that fair?
Yeah, you know what?
Can they ever be
Yeah,
man vibes?
Yeah. They have been. I would definitely put them in good vibes. Put them in good vibes for sure. They got a fun team. They got a lot of swagger right now. The jersey's sick. And they also got a lot of fun young players. I wouldn't be surprised if they make the playoffs. Where was one? Oh, I'm gonna put. Honestly, I'm bumping the Leafs down. I'm bumping them down to meh.
Oh, okay. We just
Personally.
beat them
I
tonight.
don't know about you, but I'm bumping them down to meh.
Okay. Reasons why.
Okay. Quick reasons why is I don't think they have the horses, and I've gotten more and more tired of Matthews. I remember when he first burst on the scene, I thought he was awesome, but like, just I don't know, man. I know the whole like vibe of hockey players is like the stoic, don't talk a lot, right? The joke is like every interview is like just gotta get pucks in deep, cycle the puck, all that stuff. But like the dude offers nothing, and like I don't know. After the exit last year, I understand like it's right after the game, they're pretty emotional. He probably doesn't want to talk about it much, but like Mitch Marner, for all his faults, knew that was probably his last game in a Leafs jersey, and like owned it, and was clearly like upset about it, and like owned that he should have played better, and that the team should have played better. But I never felt like he was trying to like pass the buck. So for all his faults and like everything, I respected that out of him, and I overall liked Mitch Marner. I even for things that there were things that he frustrated me about how he played, but I thought he was a fun player to watch, and I think Matthews is a fun player to watch too. But like I don't know, man. Last year, it just kind of felt kind of like a bad taste in my mouth. He just kind of felt like he was not really taking a whole lot of ownership for yet another you know bad exit. And I know they lost to the eventual champs, but man, he had so many points to close out that series, and just like I don't know, man. Like there's that line, that phrase that's gotten completely overused. But I think it's from Shorzy, or at least they use it in Shorzy. Where they're like, "What the kids don't love to win," and he's like, "No, they don't hate to lose." You know what I'm talking about?
Mm. I never watched
And
that show, but yeah.
okay, the line is, he's like, "It's not that the kids don't love to win; it's that they don't hate to lose." And that's how I feel about Matthews. I'm sure he loves to win. I don't get the vibe that he hates to lose. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like that he's also like. I feel this kind of I'm trying like I'm like I hate Matthews. I don't like he's a fun American player. He'll go down as one of like the best American players of all time, and he has a lot of great talent. There's just something lacking when the playoffs hit that he doesn't have, and I'm worried about that going into the Olympics with Team USA too. I know the Olympic hockey is not quite as intense or physical as say like a playoff hockey, but I don't know. They're not moving the needle for me this year, and I don't think just getting rid of Marner and the few little pieces they like changes they made this past offseason is enough. Like I don't think he was the only problem. I mean, I think you have to blow up that whole like core four. Maybe keep Nylander, keep Nylander, maybe Tavares, but I don't know, man. I'm not impressed with the Leafs. Maybe someone that watches them a lot more than I do could prove me wrong, but um, from my very amateur casual watching, like they're not moving the needle for me.
Sure.
And they remind me. Last only off is this. You'll know exactly what I mean because your alma mater beat my alma mater when they were like this. They remind me of Gopher teams when they were like loaded with talent, but walked on the ice thinking like we've already won because we're all talented and we already have like. And then you guys are like the Leafs come down and just be a solid team top to bottom and
Go
and,
Huskies.
and beat us. You know what I mean? Yeah,
God, what a
but
great time that was.
you know what I'm talking about though. Like where it's like
That's
okay,
good
cool. Like
comparison, yeah.
we have 15 draft picks, but like we just got lunch handed to us by a team with two, but the team with two play like a team. You know what I mean? And that's how I feel is watching Leafs hockey. It feels like those like just completely checked out Gopher teams, which drove me nuts. So yeah, I have no time for that. So yeah, Leafs are. Anyway, I said it was short and quick, and it wasn't. I ranted.
No,
So
that was insightful because like it was interesting because watching the game tonight and I got that vibe too. Like again, I haven't followed really much of the Leafs season this year. I'm just pretty dialed in and like whoever the Wild's playing and they had not great body language. I feel like whenever they cut over to the
no,
bench, it's tough when you're losing too. Like you're not going to show great body language all the time, but you usually have some scrappiness, some guys communicating. It looked like nobody was talking to each other, which is never a good sign. So yeah, any other teams you would think about moving or you think it's pretty set? Besides, we got to figure out where the Wild go.
I like our list. I all right. Again, it's gonna pay me to say this because I don't like them, but I would say Dallas more than deserves to be in the elite vibes.
Okay.
It's literally. I know it kills me, but we gotta be unbiased here as best as possible, right? Um, I mean they're like one of the best teams in the entire league, and I think it's unfortunate how the league playoff is set up. Where I wish it was at the NBA where it was like just what is it, like 1 through 8 with the
One through
NBA
eight, both
on each
sides.
side.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, like because between the Avs, us, and Dallas. Like it's probably at this point, probably us and Dallas are going to be in the first round. It's going to be a bloodbath, but also like scintillating hockey. And then you're going to lose one of like the two best teams in the league, and then whoever wins that just wins the sweepstakes to go like have to play the Avs,
Oh,
and you're already gassed. You probably went to like 7 games, and you probably might be even beat up. And it's like, all right, well then, and then whoever wins that series, it's like, well, so then we're 2 rounds in, we're not even to the conference finals, and the playoffs just lost like 2 of the 3 best teams in the entire league. All right, fine. I'll even say like if things can change up, like two, but still 2 of like the 5 best teams in the entire league.
so
It should be more like. Go
so
ahead.
you don't play um like they don't seed it 1 through 8. I think I was looking at this last week or the week before.
Like division like that. Yeah, right?
Because we are in the
Yeah.
same division, which makes it interesting. So it's like Avs, Dallas, and the Wild all in the same division. And there's 3 divisions in each conference. Two
Two.
divisions in each conference. So they take the top. Correct me if I'm wrong. They take the top 6 or top 3 from each. There's a wild card. I can't remember.
Yes. Top. This is really bad, but yeah, top. I should know this, but top 3, I believe, and then a wild card. I can't remember if the wild card is like from that division or once you get the wild card, just the best ones in the conference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
So
but
yeah, and so that you move them up just because of the fact that they're going to be probably in a spot where they're going to
yeah,
be one of those
and
top 4 teams at the end of the year potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would, yeah, I mean, and I would,
So now let's go to the question: where would you put the Wild?
I would still put them in elite.
Okay,
I know that they had a like 3-game skid, and like I said, that at times they look a little bored, but
we have a rule here on Sideline Vibes: if they're in elite, they're going to be all the way up at the top. So,
hell yeah,
sorry, my thing
love it,
crashing out. I don't know what's going on.
Very good. I mean, yeah, a 6-2 loss to the Jets last week was not good, but they bounced back with two wins against Sabres and Leafs, two middling teams, but 2 teams that Sabres are decent. I wouldn't move them from where they're at. I think they're no higher than playoff vibes. In fact, you can probably move them. Yeah, they're fine. But
this is a moving list.
Think,
it's just like currently right now. Where do you see them? It can move tomorrow if we needed to. This isn't like where we think they're going to project. Sorry, this is a projection, but also where they're at. It's a classic Sideline Vibes ranking. It doesn't.
Vibes.
It's not supposed to make perfect sense. It's all about the vibes.
No, I like that.
So it's like where they're at right now, but also where you think they could be in the future, where they're projected to. So, with that being said, you said you're hinting at the Sabres potentially being up, down, or you're okay with it?
I wouldn't put them any further up, and I don't think they're meh. I think they're very much good right now.
Okay.
But I'm good with them right now. Their playoff vibes are good vibes.
Okay.
Yeah, I like where they're at. So yeah, go back to the Wild. I mean, yeah, 3-game skid's not great, and who they lost to was like not really impressive. But I think a big tell will be the next 2 games. One's on the road tomorrow against the Canadiens. Montreal's looking good. They're doing well. I think they're 3rd right now in the. They're 3rd in the Atlantic. And then they come home, and then 2 days later they face number 2 in the Atlantic, the Red Wings, who are also looking good. And yeah, I think this will be the next 2 games. And if they the Wild crap the bed the next 2 games, then maybe we're moving them down to playoff vibes. But right now, I'm still riding high from the past month plus. I like where this team's at. There are things that you do question, but I'm gonna be a homer, and I'm gonna say I like where this team's at, and I like where we're trending as well. If they continue to look bored and that becomes consistent, then maybe we're having a different conversation a month or two from now. But I really don't think that's going to happen. I really
Yeah.
think they're going to continue to do well. And the thing is too, like, not to sound like complacent, but like right now they're like things can change. Hockey's weird, but like right now they're kind of playing with like house money because Dallas is 63 points. We have 65. So we're just playing like jump rope with like number spots 2 and 3 in the Central. The Mammoth right now are only down at number 4 with 54 points, but the Avs are above us at 76. So it's like, okay, I don't think we're gonna bottom out and have that Mammoth catch us unless they go on an absolute heater and we like just
Hmm.
go on a like 10-game skid. But I also don't think we're gonna do the inverse and go catch the Avs. So it's
I like
like,
it.
let's just keep this train rolling, keep everyone healthy. Let's have guys that go to the Olympics have some good Olympic tournaments, come back, and let's just get hot in like March and fly into the fly through April and then into the playoffs. That's my hope. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like,
I love it.
I'm not. Go ahead.
This gives me the vibes of the last time we did a vibe check was with the NBA, and I was getting absolutely blasted for putting the Wolves up in the elite vibes, just like we just did with the Wild here. And they were similar going through some stuff, and I said the same thing. I think they're just bored with regular season play. And what did they do in the start of 2026? They went on a huge run here and kind of showing the league what they can be, also being considered contenders as well. So I think your mindset's in the right spot. I think we've seen it before here in Sideline Vibes, and yeah. What were we gonna say after that? After that,
No, that was pretty much it. I mean, I know you said you don't watch a ton of hockey, but like, how are you feeling about this wild team? I mean, they're fun too. That's the other thing too, is that they have like a lot of personalities on the team, and I think they're a fun brand of hockey to watch. You know, um, which I enjoy. You know,
again, I'm gonna use this comparison because I'm really locked in with Wolves. Like I know basketball pretty well, so
yeah,
com-
you're a basketball guy. I
basketball guy,
appreciate
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. And so gives me early, like it gives me Timberwolves vibes, like when they made that trade for Gobert. Now comparing, it's kind of funny comparing Gobert with Hughes for different things. Like Hughes is brought in for his offensive, defensive stuff. Gobert was brought in for his defensive stuff, and like he can be a factor offensively. Obviously, you see that over the last couple of years, and so it's kind of like seeing like the beginning of that window. We have a young superstar Kaprizov, and then you have some young talent around him, like comparing like Faber to Jamie McDaniels, or you know what I mean, or like who's Nasri,
Mm.
that'd be whoever. Um, and
Matt Bailey, probably. Yeah,
there we go. So like you have these like
yeah.
kind of comparisons there, but then you have the old. They brought in some good veteran leadership, like Tarasenko, for example. Like Spurgeon's been around forever, and he provides a lot of that veteran leadership. And so you have the pieces to start a window here, and that's kind of where you want to be if you're a Wild fan. This is like exactly where you want to be. And so like watching this year's team, because I watch every year. How dialed in I am has gone up after starting this podcast. It's like I want to be really locked in on Minnesota sports, and I've really enjoyed watching this team because they're just a lot of fun. Like the way they play is a lot of fun. Like Kaprizov,
Yeah,
every night you watch,
yeah.
you're like, wow, he's gonna do something that's so cool. Like tonight, he had an incredible pass. I think it led to the first goal, I believe. Um, like he's just gonna do something every night that you're like, holy crap, I have not seen that. And so that alone makes this team fun to watch. Um, and yeah, if you're a Wild fan, I think you should be very excited for what you're seeing on the ice and what you could see in the future here. Even if it doesn't end with the Stanley Cup in their hands at the end of the year, but the window is open for it. But yeah,
Yeah, I agree, and I like that these guys are in their prime. Like our core is that Faber, Boldy, Erickson, Ek, Kaprizov, Hughes. I hope I'm not forgetting anyone else, but they're all like mid to late 20s. Like they're yeah. they're in their prime. They're not like, we're not running on gas either. But then you have these vets, that are also, know how to like keep calm and tense situations and everything. A Foligno, the Matt Zuccarello, Hartman. I think he's a little older than like Kaprizov and those guys. But Spurgeon for sure. Another one that's like very underrated, and I've always liked, and I like him. More and more as time goes on, and he's always been just real solid. He's a Jonas Brodin, just a real he has a really solid offensive talent as well, but just all just like he's a very solid like two-way defenseman. I mean, just I don't know if I would say he's an absolute shutdown defenseman. I don't know if you would say he's quite as like the offensive capabilities as like a Quinn Hughes, but he's just very solid, 200-foot defenseman, knows how to play the game well, very smart hockey player, and I think the other thing too is like that always impressed me is he on multiple occasions, like multiple games, not just multiple occasions in one game, multiple occasions has been able to like, really just I won't say shut down, but like hamper Connor McDavid. And if you can do that to Connor McDavid, like on multiple occasions, you have to be a pretty good defenseman. I
Yeah.
mean, so yeah, but yeah, I the day he leaves the Wild, honestly, a sad day because I think man, this is bad. I should know this. I'm gonna look this up right now. I am 99% sure we drafted him, and so like I think he's like so far been like a one club guy, and so yeah, selected 10th overall in 2011 by the Minnesota Wild,
Yep.
playing career 2009 to present. Let's see, when did he come over? Came over and started playing. Was recalled to NHL level in January of 2013. We were seniors in high school.
Wow. That's actually crazy. I feel like he's been. I just feel like I've heard that name, like you said. Like it feels like he has been just like around literally forever.
He feels like
But it
he
doesn't
feels
come
like
up a lot. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I guess in like staying power, not so much in like. I mean, he is a little quieter than Mikko Koivu, but like he reminds me like of Mikko Koivu, and just like he's just an old reliable. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like remember Koivu was like he wasn't always be the top of your score sheet, but like he was there when you needed him to, and he was a hell of a captain, and he just was like he was just a presence on the Wild for so long. Then when he left, you're like, wow, he's one of those players that's like you don't realize just how embedded they are with the team and the culture until they're not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so um,
They're
yeah, I
also
mean, it's like
yeah.
a
Sorry, they're also like really fun this year. I don't know if it's just because I'm like doing the podcast and like kind of locked in on trying to find a lot of stuff for like just different content that I think is interesting and fun to show and lead people to. I just see their social media has been a lot more like guys like Kaprizov. Like never, I feel like I never knew what he sounded like a year ago. And I feel like now I'm like seeing him in like fun little like skits with Eriksson Ek, and I love Eriksson Ek too. He's like I think he's my favorite player. Um, Besides Kaprizov, obviously, but it's like, and I guess I had to say Spurgeon because that's Bailey's favorite player too, and I'm wearing his jersey. So,
there you go.
it's the only jersey we have. Anyways, it's fun seeing more of their like because you don't really get that with with NHL players until like off season stuff. You see some funny things they do, like when they go golfing, and they like hockey players just seem to be very like chill, as in like
Yeah.
reserved. They're not like going out and doing a bunch of commercials. They're not. You're not going to see them in like TV show appearances. They just kind of go about their business and like to kind of lay low. But they've done a great job with the social media this year and really getting to know the players, and that's kind of fun. I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think they're doing a good job, like kind of like playing up like the different fun personalities of each. Like the whole like Quinn Hughes, like the running joke is he's just like a robot.
Yeah.
Like when he's not actively playing, you just pan over and he's just like, and then like all of a sudden he just like hops on and or the other running joke of like whenever like something good happens, it's like did I just see Quinn Hughes smile? Like he just he's just such a like a robot, but also like a pro. It's just like
Yeah.
I don't know, I mean,
He probably doesn't know what it's like
yeah,
to be in a winning situation right now.
I mean, there's that too.
He's like,
Yeah,
can I have fun?
yeah, he hasn't been on a good team since like when he was at Michigan like 8 years ago. I mean, the no, well, I mean, the Canucks I guess were good like 2 years ago, but like had such a fall from grace for the past 2.5 seasons. I honestly almost feel bad for him. Like it's just like that needs to be studied. That fall from grace. I think was it 24 or was it 2023? I think it was as soon as recent 2024. But either way, like they were like in like they lost like Edmonton. I think like the conference finals or like the divisional final. Like they made it to like the second or third round of the setting up playoffs. They had so much like momentum. Everyone's like, yes, Vancouver's been bad for a while, and they have all these fun players. Like, good for them. They deserve this. The fans deserve this. And like, Brock Besser from I think Burnsville, but Minnesota kid went and played for North Dakota. Um, they had like Quinn Hughes, they had a bunch of other players, Elias Pettersson, all this stuff, and then they lost. And I think the Sunday was like, all right, cool, running back to this next year. And then like they had like a huge like locker room beef. Like two of their like star players hated each other. Apparently, they got like public too, and it just like it all fell apart. And so like you kind of feel for Vancouver, and you also kind of feel for like Quinn Hughes, but yeah, like what a solid. He's actually on a solid team now, and But back to your point, sorry, like it's Kaprizov, like the dude could barely speak English, but they're like, let's roll with it, or Faber's, everyone loves Faber. He's just the most Minnesota kid ever. Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's such a likable guy, and Bully's a good dude, and Eriksson Ek is just out there just laying the body. Hartman's a rat, and Foligno's just a beautiful man. So like all these things are kind of working for him. So at least excited to see where it goes, and they have the Timberwolves and the Wild good this year. It's
Oh
like a
yes,
lot of
yeah.
fun.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
like it's just like not to get negative because we're trying to get good vibes. I'm like, what a letdown of a Vikings season. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It originally was. Yeah. But then they
So
pulled
and like
together at the end a little bit.
they did, I say what an up and down season for the Vikings. Is that more fair to say?
Yeah, I mean it was a lot of people would probably say it was an underwhelming season, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Still got so much high hopes when, and then, before that, what's before the summer, like Twins might as well not even taking the field the last like couple months of the season, and that's what's shocking to the players. It's just like when you have the Polaz on it, it's just like what it's just you're like kneecapping yourself in the springtime. So, um, yeah, I feel like you ask these questions like on like one rambling rant after another.
This
So I
is the best
apologize.
part. That's the best part about having you on, Ian. This is the best part about the podcast is that's what we'd like to do here. We like to just ramble.
Vibes.
We're
Yeah,
just vibing. We're just two
go for
guys
hockey is
talking at a
not
bar right now about
exactly.
sports.
Go for hockey's not. It's been a pretty tough year this year. Nico Medved's still in his first year trying to. I mean, like they've had some good wins, but like go for basketball's not like going to like the Elite Eight this year. So like to have something in this winter of like the Wolves and the Wild, and being both good, and then like having the Lynx have a decent, coming off it's like okay, like this gives me like some hope. There's something. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, because
We're in another golden era.
I hope so. Yeah. But like we were both saying like Ant, Nas Reed, the Wolves better than I do, but like on the Wild too, like they both have fun personalities. They
Yep.
play a fun style of their respective sports. Like it's fun to be a Wolves and Wild fan right now, and with other sports being either up and down or just not good. And then I know this is a sports podcast. We won't go anything further, but like all the craziest in the world happening right now. It's
Mm-hmm.
like at least you can turn our TV and watch some fun, basketball and hockey, which is always good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
but
that's part of. I mean, obviously, a lot of things that happen in the world, like sports, is not the most important part of uh, that. But sports do provide a just like if you like to read books and unwind and escape from the realities of the world, or play video games, or if you like do puzzles, or you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
They can find you at the times that you kind of need a little escape, at least while you're in your day, at some
What,
point in your day.
yeah. What did someone say? I think it was like, I don't, I can't remember who said it, but someone recently, they're like, sports is the most important, like least important thing. It's like
Yeah.
it's like it's of all the things that like at the end of the day will not affect you, like actually, unless you're actually on the team and you're like your job, depends on it. But like as a fan, like when I mean, as I mentioned before, I mentioned tonight already. Like as you know, like, I'm a huge Gopher hockey fan. Like if they don't win, I'm bummed. But like it doesn't actually directly affect like my job or my
No.
life or like like me like putting food on the table. It's so, but like, yeah, it's like the most important, like least important thing. So like, it is that good, like, it means a lot to a lot of people, but it also like, okay, heaven forbid that like, we're not having a good season. It's like, okay, this isn't taking tuition money away from your kid's college fund. You know what I mean?
We can
So
have good things, and you've seen a lot of that good
exactly.
stuff in Minnesota. As bad stuff's happening, you see a group of incredible people stand up for things that and come together. That's part of it. But
Not nothing. Yeah.
speaking of America, um, I need to ask you your Olympic thoughts on how you think Team USA stands against the field front runners, or are we uh, good vibes, or are we
For you're talking for the bobsled team, right?
overall? And we could focus on hockey.
No, I'm just
No,
joking. Overall, as a lifelong luge fan, no, I'm kidding. Uh, I mean, I always like our chances going into the Olympics, either summer or winter, because we're just such a big country and we have so many like great athletes that like love to dedicate their lives to their sport. Um, but then it's also fun to see like like some dude from like Sweden just like snipe, like the was it the biathlon or like
yeah.
it's I want to see all these different
The one where they
athletes.
ski around and then they like shoot at a target. Is
Yeah,
that the one you're talking about? Or
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I love that
the
one.
Finns are the best of that one. If you don't heard of the Winter War, look it up. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm always going to be, excited and bullish on Team USA. Um, but I'm excited for this Team USA hockey. I think they've got a big chip on their shoulder in a good way, from losing in the Four Nations final last year to Canada, and yeah, I think they look really good. They left off a couple of guys that I did kind of question. Like I regardless if he plays for the Dallas Stars or not, I like Jason was it Robertson? Kid's a stud. So that one was a little bit of a head scratcher. But overall, I like the team. I think we're going in as like one of the favorites. It's like us, Canada. Um, obviously, Sweden's going to put in a good team. We're going to have a lot of good teams. Um, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited. Hopefully, get a chance to watch some of the games, at least follow it, fairly closely. But it's also just good to have the NHL players back in the mix for the first time in what, like, was it 12 years?
Hmm.
Because the last two they weren't involved, which is crazy. And then obviously it's like you don't think about it, it's like, oh, the last two they were involved. It's like, yeah, but with the Olympics being every 4 years,
Yeah.
last time they were involved, we were freshmen in college,
Yeah, it's gonna be
which is
fun.
nuts.
The Four Nations face
So
off got this ball rolling for like not obviously like logistically whatever, not that case, but like it's gonna be fun to watch because it's a more of a bigger scale. Um, yeah, I'm excited for watching all the sports curling. Oh, but yeah, no, it'll be a good time. Our boy Ian Fritz, did you know he shot helped shoot the I don't know if you watched the clips of Billy G calling all the players and telling them they made the Olympic team.
oh, that was him.
Yeah, Ian was on one of the shots. He was on like the straightaway shot.
That's
So
sick.
shout out to Ian. Oh yeah, hopefully the boys don't treat it like a throwaway game in Rochester. But Yeah, it'll be exciting to watch them, and excited to watch the Wild for the rest of the time, the season, raising that trophy or not. We'll have to have you on when the playoffs get rolling here. We can really break down the bracket, break down matchups, break down all that jazz. And you know what? If they make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, Ian, we might have to do a watch party. We might have to actually go.
Dude, if they're into the Stanley Cup playoffs, the finals, excuse me, I might have to take some leave and
Head up to
I
St.
don't know.
Paul.
Maybe I have a sick relative in St. Paul or something. I don't know, but maybe I shouldn't say that on air. But no, okay.
We'll
Maybe
bleep
I
that
might have
out.
to be able to take just a quick weekend to leave, um, and yeah, get back up there. And at least even if I'm not in town for like, and we don't go to a game, just like get a sports bar in
Yeah,
St. Paul and just soak in the vibes.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
We probably one can't get tickets for that. They're already bought, and then two, yeah, it, that's
be
probably
like a grand.
that's number one. There's only one for that.
Yeah,
Anyways, I'm gonna do state of the state. If you want to stick around for state of the state, feel free to.
yeah, I'm down. I'll stick around for State of
Dude,
the
let's
State.
do it. Let's do it. Okay,
Do it.
we're gonna go kind of quick through some of these. We have a lot of off-season teams at this point. We talked about the Wild already, so
Fair.
um,
Yeah.
buckle in, folks. Here we go. We're covering 2 weeks here because I was gone, and so we took a week off. So 2 weeks of stuff to cover here. January 5th through 18th. It is January 19th. The Wolves. Oh, what a stretch! What a stretch they've got on here. 27-16, fourth in the West now. Could get up to the second. I'm not too big on like standings jumping at this point. It's obviously nice to see um, your team in one of the top spots, obviously. But
Mhm.
as long if those teams are so close together, you're going to put yourself in a bunch of misery if you're going to watch that the rest of the year. Anyways, that's my little soapbox. Fourth in the West right now, sixth in the league. That's where I like to look at, and 5-2 in the last 2 weeks here. Some big wins against the Heat, the Cavaliers. Very much showed um, kind of what they're made of. They got I don't want to say punked in a game. They just came out very flat in a handful of games. The Atlanta game was a big turning point. Um, Ant walked off the court. He wasn't very happy, and from that point on, the Wolves kind of they did the meme. They did the meme where they're like that gaming meme where the guy's sitting in a chair and he leans forward. They're locked in this last month here, which led to a huge win against the Spurs. An all-time incredible fourth quarter comeback. If you want to watch some awesome highlights from this, this is the reason why you got to kind of dial in on regular season. Um, whether you're watching the Wild, whether you're watching the Wolves, whether you're watching the Twins, you might see something incredible. You know, that's why you watch it. Okay, if you can't watch it for whatever reason, that's fine. There's the highlights out there. It's great. If you were like, hey, I want to dial in, I want to watch this big matchups, that Spurs game, go back and watch that incredible fourth quarter comeback. And that kind of led to some other things happening here. Milwaukee game, we got a huge win. Johan Berenger, his breakout. He seems to break into the rotation. Finch is very happy with his performance, and he led to him playing in the San Antonio game, which was one of my favorite games I've watched in a long time. It was Ant versus Wemby. It was classic Timberwolves basketball, getting down at halftime and trying to come back and almost coming back miraculously. Ant with a career high. Ant was making shots that I officially reached the point where every shot that he shot up, I was like, that's in. I wasn't even. I was like, oh, I can't believe they let him shoot it for that. I can't believe they let him even get to 45 points. He was just putting it on them. There's nothing that they could do until the point that they finally had to just completely double team. As soon as he got the ball, even before half court. Were you able to see any of the highlights of that by chance?
I was not. I'll have to check them out. I saw they're on a heater though, so it's exciting for the Timberwolves in the state of Minnesota. But I'll look at those. I'll watch those highlights. Me and tomorrow morning when I'm eating breakfast, I'll watch some Timberwolves highlights and like that.
Go watch both the Spurs last two Spurs games. We have the home one, that was the one we won, and then we lost against them at San Antonio in our last game, but on Saturday. One of the most fun games I've ever watched live, regular season wise. I'd say
Love that.
felt like a playoff game. It was great. I would say the vibes are maturing. I feel like you've seen a very mature Ant over the last month or so here, ever since Atlanta. Even before Atlanta, he kind of had like a weird. I don't want to say like a weird vibe, but he just had like a more like locked in focus from the jump, and he's really changed the energy of our team. Because I always say like the team goes where Ant's energy goes. If he comes out lackadaisical, the team kind of has bad energy, and it just kind of goes that way. But this leads to some news that drops today. Not big news, but the All-Star starters get announced. Who's not on the list for the Western Conference? Anthony Edwards snubbed. I want to first say, one, All-Star game doesn't matter. Don't care. The players don't even care about the All-Star games, guys. Don't get caught up on the Pro Bowl. Don't get caught up on the All-Star games. It doesn't matter. I know there's money incentives, yada, yada, yada. I don't think it's a big deal because sometimes the players don't even play in them. They obviously care, though, a little bit because they like to put themselves against one another. And this is a good way to do that with the fan voting. They kind of get an idea of where they are in that vibe. With that being said, it's criminal that Anthony Edwards is not an all-star starter. But I'm glad that this is happening because it's only going to put another chip on his shoulder to get us through the rest of the season to actually get a real thing, which would make him get the real prize, which would be a title, if not an MVP as well, because I think he should be in the running. As Julius Randle said today on Twitter, he went off saying that he should be an all-star starter. Also, he should be in the MVP conversation. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree. Yeah, I think like definitely an all-star. And this kind of
he'll be an all-star. He'll be an all-star just the starters came out. So it's also not really that big of a deal.
Fair enough. I think, but MVP, like MVP just turned into, I think a lot of sports just turned into like who's the best player in the league. I'm like, well, that's not. Then have like a Heisman for like a professional like level. You know what I mean? Because like to me MVP is most valuable player.
Yeah,
it's not always like the absolute best player, which I think Ant is up there with some of the best right now. But I think it's also like who's the player that like is the most valuable to their team, which obviously would be a very good player. So it could be the best player. But I mean, doing like and I'm sure like you're gonna like be like I'm gonna be talking on my you know what right now, so I'm not trying to like be like talking about stuff I don't understand, but like those 2010s like Warriors teams. Steph Curry, I'll hear the argument for him being an MVP, but could the argument be made where it was someone else because those teams were so loaded, especially once they got Kevin Durant, that like, you know, is another guy more worthy of being an MVP? Yeah, to their team. That's not saying that other guy is better than Curry. I mean, there's a point where Curry was like the best player. Like, you could argue that was the best player, if not only definitely one of the best players in the league. You know, obviously he's very different than LeBron, like completely different type of player. Or my point is like, again, you watch way more basketball than I do, but like, Ant is one of the most valuable players to his team. You know what I mean? I'm not saying there aren't others. I'm sure there are, but like, especially in basketball, a sport where it's like one individual can like really propel your team. You know what I mean? Like Tom Brady on a piss poor team is still a piss poor team. And on a bad team, they're not going to win a championship, but like, you know, that can change. You know what I mean? Because it's just such a smaller roster. Maybe I sound like a total idiot right now when it comes to basketball, but that to me is like, that's the MVP. Is like, who not being there and then being there makes or breaks your team the most. You know what I mean? That would be.
Yeah. I mean, you've nailed what I've thought of the MVP. I don't know if I ever talked about this in the show, but I've always thought that the MVP, exactly as you said, is the most valuable person in the league. So the most valuable player to their team that helped their team win. So that's the key part of that too. Is like your team has to be like a top 2 seed, top 3 seed at least. Um, yeah, I agree. I agree with that 100%. And I think there should be like a different category. There should be an MVP, but that might be whether it's just changing the name of the trophy to like Player of the Year, because
Yeah.
people get very caught up like we are with like the value part of it. It's like I look at the stat, like I can look at the stats, but it's like I tell you right now, Anthony Edwards is more valuable to the Minnesota Timberwolves than I guess technically Jokic would be the most valuable player, but like LeBron should have won like 10 years in a row because he's clearly the most valuable player on that Cleveland Cavaliers team in the 2010s.
Yeah.
Like he should have won an MVP every year for using that logic, but like people don't want to do that. They want to use this as a year. It's like, all right, who had the best year as a player in that season? I think Bill Simmons says that. It's
Right.
like I want this to be like how do I remember this season? But then yeah, at least sometimes you go back and go, how did that person win MVP that year? Like I don't get that. And yeah, it's kind of like a thing that people like we're having a conversation about it now. I don't like really getting into MVP conversations because I just don't really like we get like, not that we're doing that right now. I'm just saying like if we were like who should be the MVP, and like we debated about it for an hour, it just seems like pointless.
Yeah, I mean, we could be here all night. It's
Yeah.
almost as roundabout as like the GOAT question. It's like
100%. There's so many variables.
different players, different times. It's just like, I mean, like I just said when I was like, it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, Steph Curry could be considered like the most valuable player, but then could he? But also like, could he be considered the best player? It's like, well, I wouldn't put him better than LeBron, but he was better at this than LeBron. It's like, well, they're two completely different players. Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, or I don't know, take any sport. It's like, yeah, I mean, I also don't love how like the Heisman has become basically the best quarterback, and every once in a great while, like a running back might get like.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's like for MVP now in the NFL too. So yeah.
Yeah.
Which is true. They're the most valuable player on the. So it's kind of yeah. Anyways, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, but like again, you're right. Like it's not wrong. It's just kind of like, damn, it's just which QB is it this year? But at the same time, it's like, well, that's because the QB is the most valuable player, or stuff like I just think that sometimes like even in sports where like or like awards where like the panel is very clearly like a big fan of that respect to sport. It's like a few years ago when both Connor Bedard on the Blackhawks and Brock Faber was on the Wild, and they were like going for Rookie of the Year. It's like I'd argue that it was Faber. Now, am I biased? 100%. I'll be the first to admit that I'm totally biased. But it's like Bedard. They were both teams at the time were not great. Wild were very middling. Blackhawks were not good. But like neither were like going to win a championship. And Bedard was like he was the offensive talent was clearly there, but like the guy was like, I mean, his defensive game was not really there at the time. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's there yet, but like I thought overall, Faber like had a more well-rounded game, and honestly, like in some ways, offered more to his respective team at that time. I'm not saying Faber's a better player than Bedard, but like we're not talking about who we think the best players overall or are going to have an overall career. You're asking the question, who's the rookie of the season? And I'm like, well, I think the rookie of the season is Faves for that very reason. Yeah, I mean, but like so many things, it's become like most offensive like sizzle. Which is not me saying that Bedard's all sizzle. I don't have the Blackhawk guys in my mentions being like, oh, I don't think he's all sizzle. But I'm saying that year it was like, anyway, we go on and on for hours. But yeah, I make Ant MVP. That's just
He's MVP for me every year. I like all pro stuff. Like I think I look at the all pro thing I take that one very seriously with like, okay, how did he not get first team all pro? How is he like That I actually do, even though I shouldn't really care because it's a bunch of uh, just sports journalists that a lot of them try to have like hot takes too. But for the most part, there's some integrity. Anyways, we can go on and on about that. Look at us trying to not talk about that, and we went on for it's a pandemic. I will say one of my favorite people in sports media, Zach Lowe, he said on his podcast recently that, quote, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves could win the championship. If we get to the end of the season and the Timberwolves won the championship, I would not be blown away by it. I think they're that good. That made me excited.
Very excited. Could you imagine if the Wild and the Timberwolves won their respective championships either the same year and or within like the same like 2 or 3 year span? And even like the whatever team wasn't winning that year or those years was still like making deep playoff runs. June would be the best month in Minnesota.
God, we out of the we have to have a boat parade around Minnetonka. Like we just go crazy. That'd be so much fun. Yeah. No, next game's here for the Wolves. We played Tuesday at Utah. Utah's a little scrappy, so keep an eye out for that. Thursday versus the Bulls, and then for those of you who do not have FanDuel Sports Network and don't want to pay the $20, Saturday versus the Warriors at 4:30 on ABC. We're local. So yeah, check those out.
They went back to back against the Warriors.
I believe so. Yeah, they do like a little series now, which is kind of fun. I love when they do that. The teams like it too.
Little bad blood by the time the last whistle goes.
Yeah, last time we went back to back with the Warriors, Jay McDaniels tried to fight Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green put Rudy Gobert in the chokehold. I'm pretty sure. So, yeah,
that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was electric. So yeah, exciting stuff here for the Wolves coming up. Let's talk a little Frost. How locked in are you on the Frost? The back-to-back champs going for the Freeze Pete hashtag.
I'll admit not as much as I should be, but I know they had some great players, including some former Gophers. That Taylor Heisey, hella player.
Yep.
I wonder, did she get picked up for the Olympic team?
Yep, she's on the Olympic team. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I would love to see him win that 3-peat. That'd be fun, and I think it's great, seeing to grow the game and just seeing how many like young girls are excited about like the Frost and everything is Minnesotans in general of all ages and boys and girls and young men and women and everything are just like excited about the Frost. I think it's good. The more you grow the game, the more I think it's good for hockey in general, but especially hockey in Minnesota. And I need to check out more how they're doing this year. So, but
the games are the games are fun. The games are fun to watch. I wasn't able to watch when I was in Florida. They had 2 games, which we'll talk about in a second. But again, if you have FanDuel Sports Network, you can watch the Frost, you can watch the Wild, and you can watch the Wolves. If you just want to watch Minnesota sports, that's there we go. That's what you got to do.
FanDuel's the way to go.
FanDuel's the way to go. I don't usually support FanDuel, but their sports network is doing what they need to do right now. But anyways, with your Olympic thought, there's 6 Minnesota Frost players named to the USA women's hockey team. That's the largest contingent of any PWHL team. There's also some players that are joining the Croatia team. So they have 8 total Frost players in the Olympics. That's pretty impressive.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So a little fun fact for you there. Last week, the Frosts are 5-3-2. They're 3rd in the standings, but could easily jump up into 2nd. They're kind of leapfrogging back and forth between the New York Sirens, which they won against last week. They went 2-0 against the Torrent and the New York Sirens. The vibe all year has been they hate us because they hate us. That's what I've learned, is that people do not like the Frost. People are kind of haters towards the Frost. We're kind of being treated like the New England Patriots. And this is, in the words of Noah Kitzman, this is what I've dreamed of. We've always dreamed of being a team so good that the whole league hates us.
I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. I like that. I think Noah hit on the head. How many teams in Minnesota our entire lives. And I don't mean just like clubs, like each year, each different team. It's just like, you know, it's like, oh, like we're almost like a, oh, and they're here too kind of thing. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Or we're just bad. So
Yeah.
yeah, I have no problem. In fact, I kind of like having at least one team where it's like there's a bit of fu to the team, and we're just good. Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I think yeah, it's good that it's hockey and everything, and it's exciting.
Yeah.
Um, like I've only ever hung out with them like 2 or 3 times in my entire life, and every single time it's just like cinema. There's always something going on, and I love it.
That's just the Detroit Lakes way, man. You're just gonna run into
It,
some cool cats, some characters, you
it,
know.
it really is. When he received his was it Fan of the Year award, and then you called him, and he just was like one surprised that you called him, and then two that like he got it. He was like, "Oh, thanks." I was like, "This is so on brand." I was dying laughing.
It was the absolute perfect Kidsman response, and I was so glad that he responded like that. It was just like, "Wow, thanks." You know, I love the show. It's like you're the fan of the year, you're like the sideline vibe guy of the year, and you're just like, yeah, that's perfect sideline vibes mantra. I'd say one cool thing too. One, the Frost lead. Going back to the Frost. Sorry, they
Yeah, got to.
lead the league in goals scored. They're just an absolute wagon on that end.
Yeah, I not no surprises. Again, like I said, I'll just finish off saying like I like um I like that we have a team where it's like the big bad Frost. You know what I mean? Um, obviously, I love like a lot of Minnesota teams. I feel like we've talked before. It's like love Joe Mauer, love like Zach Parise, but like it's almost or like a Jared Spurgeon, but it's almost like a little like sometimes I feel like a little too like, oh, hey, how's it going? Kind of thing. It's just like part of Minnesotan, but it's like let's put a little fu in our game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, um, yeah, I don't know. That's why I mean, not this year. Jeez, tough year. But that's the thing. A reason why a lot of Gopher fans like Gopher hockey is because it's just like it's one of the few teams where it's like we expect to be good, not like oh wow we're actually good for once kind of thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So um, yeah, but see, so we got Frost.
Yeah. No, so that their next game here is Wednesday versus the Montreal Victory. Interesting name. And then they play again Sunday versus the Sirens. So an opportunity to get up to the 2 seed, if not the number 1 team. If you can get 2 wins next week. Off-season vibes. Twins. We don't have to dive too much into it. Kind of the lull of the offseason. Arbitration stuff started. I believe there's just a couple meetings that are going to be starting between the end of January here, and then the hearings happen on February or in February, along with pitchers and catchers showing up. So we're about getting to that time of the year where you guys start thinking about that. Winter's almost over. Lynx, CBA, they not get to an agreement, and so that means that the everything in the offseason is going to get pushed back until they can get to an agreement. That's the update I had. If there's an update that happens this week, then this will be old news, but that's where we're at right now. I don't think anything else has happened of late. Wait, actually, I want to check that really quick. Sorry.
No, I'll like Twins too. It's like I know I've said it before, and it's
Yeah,
easy to say.
it's an impasse still. So, anyways, sorry.
It's just sell the team, like for like crying out loud. Like we need new ownership. I know it's just a lazy commentary to say because it's like, oh, no duh. But it's like I just can't get excited for these guys until it's a new ownership and just a complete fresh start. And
Mm-hmm.
that's nothing against the guys like Buxton or anyone else that's actually on the field. It's just like, yeah, whatever. We've been over this. It sucks watching a team that I really like just be handicapped by like their own ownership, but that is a discussion for at least a few months from now. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, as a Timberwolves fanatic, I know exactly what that's like.
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
for way long.
I don't even know.
Yeah, silver lining. I've said this before. They're trying to change things up. Let's let it play out and see what
Let it play
happens.
out.
It's okay,
I
but
like
it's
that.
also in the same breath, it's okay that fans are upset. I'm allowing that.
We'll allow it.
As the vibe coordinator of the Minnesota State.
He's a
Yeah,
vibe coordinator.
yeah,
I like yeah,
yeah.
self-crowned.
Self
Yeah.
crowned. Name a better vibes guy. Anyways, yeah, everything in the WNBA offseason is contingent on this new CBA being signed, and we knew this was going to be a process, so nothing crazy. But in the meanwhile, you can watch Unrivaled. I think I'm going to kind of go over stuff soon, kind of pick my favorite Unrivaled team. It's 3-on-3 offseason league. Players get kind of put on these random teams. They all play in the same place. Kind of a fun little thing that I think the NBA should do that in the offseason. I think it's kind of fun. Anyways, yeah. Loons, Wonderball, a lot of changes this last 2 weeks. We had some transfers come in. We're going to dive more into that. I don't want to keep Ian for too long here, so we'll dive more into that in a little bit when we get closer to the season. The only big thing, we lost Ramsey. Ramsey went to the Championship League with, I think it's West Brom. Does that sound familiar?
With Bromwich Albion, yeah.
Yeah, so he's the new manager for them, I believe.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, so I don't know if you followed a lot of. Obviously, you've been listening to us talk about the Loons. So that was a good upgrade for him. Obviously, we weren't going to keep him forever. He was destined to move up to what is considered a higher league. MLS is trying to move towards becoming one of those premier leagues, and they're making some strides. They got some good players over the years with Messi, and yeah, it's good direction to go in. But they were never going to get into that zone until they changed their schedule, and so that's hopefully going to be a good thing here coming up. But do you have any Loons thoughts?
My only Loons thought is if you haven't been to a game yet, they're a ton of fun, and I
So bad.
love what they did with it. They, especially with being a bit more of a niche sport, at least the time they built the stadium purposely made it just a little smaller than a little bigger. But I've only been once or twice, and it's always like a good crowd, which I would prefer like I don't know, like I was using easy numbers, like round numbers. I would prefer like a 10,000 versus stadium that's like always packed, at least has a good crowd, than like a 15 to 20,000 person stadium that's like 2/3 full.
Yeah.
You know, I love Target Field, but I maintain that Target Field is like it was built 10 years too late. I mean, it been built like in the mid '90s, like in the late '90s with like those like great home runs with like and all those guys, that era. But there's just three times where I know baseball is completely different, but there's three times where Target Field's like half empty. You know.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, when it is full, it's rocking. So
Mm-hmm.
I think basically just kind of deal with that. But yeah, that's my only thought on the Wolves. And yeah, is that if you haven't been to a game, go. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go. I feel like I haven't even been to. I've only been to Twins. I've been to the Wild now, but I haven't been to a Loons game. Haven't been to a Frost game. Um, I need to go. Otherwise, I can't. What am I doing? I can't talk about a
What are you
team that I've
doing?
never been to a game. It's ridiculous. But yeah, new manager Cameron Knowles moving up from lower levels to take over. So he kind of knows the players, which is nice.
There you
So
go.
yeah, I'm excited for this Loons. I'm excited for this Loons season. We lost our goaltender, but our goalkeeper. Sorry, I keep getting that messed up. But we got a young, scrappy group and some fun things. But it was tough to lose Ramsey. I liked him. And then we don't need to talk about Vikings because they're done and they just ended. So we'll talk a little bit more about them in some later episodes. Now, Ian, what's your vibe of the week?
Are you saying like as far as sports or in general?
It could be in general. It could be just what you're like, what you're vibing with, what's on your mind. But basically, this is a safe space to talk about your feelings, and it could be related to. You could tie it to sports and how you're feeling, or it could just be like something you're just focused in on in this week.
You know what? I'll stick with this to keep it safe. I'm gonna say. I think I had last time. So my vibe of the week is like just patience. Patience. Trying to be more patient. Maybe so with like work, other stuff in general, and then patient as far as we're going off sports is gotta learn to just enjoy the season as it is, and just take it one game at a time. And if your team's doing well, then just enjoy those games. And if they're not, then you should be patient and know that like it's not the bad times aren't gonna last forever. And as I said already tonight, and Derek knows, and some of the viewers know, my favorite sport, hands down, far above everything else, is Gopher hockey. They're not. It's not that they're having not a great year. They're having it's just a bad year. And but I like the building blocks for next year and the year after. And so patience. That's what I'm trying to. Just you know what, this year is just. We knew it would be a rebuild year. I didn't think it'd be this bad, but you know what? We're about a little over halfway through, or about halfway through. Nothing we can do about it now. So let's just try to get the small victories where we can get them. And I'm just gonna stay on social media and not listen to North Dakota and Duluth fans. And yeah, just be patient. There's a lot of great recruits coming in. I don't think Bob Moscow and his staff just completely forgot how to coach overnight. So it'll all be figured out.
Yeah.
The sun will rise tomorrow morning. So that's my vibe of the week. Is just take a deep breath, patience.
I think you and Mr. Zach Stelter, friend of the program, need to form a Minnesota Gopher support group, because there's some tough times, but I love your vibe. I think it's a good vibe for everybody to work on in general. So
I will admit, easier said than done.
That's one of the hardest things to do is be patient.
Yeah.
In this society.
But, yeah. All right, Derek. What's your vibe of the week?
My vibe of the week is I would say thoughtful.
Ooh, okay.
I saw a lot of good stories over my week break here. One of them being from former Marshall Tiger, YA Black Ace, hooking up. I wish I could play the story. I wish I could play the news, but I'm just going to read the little snippet here. When AJ Owen saw people in Pittsburgh community struggling with food insecurity, he started a food pantry in his front yard. A member of the Pittsburgh Steelers, by the name of Mr. Y.A. Black, former Marshall Tiger, hometown hero here, he contributed by dropping off food. And then this weekend, where the story happened, he ended up surprising AJ with Super Bowl tickets for thanking him for all he's done for the city of Pittsburgh, it's just a cool gesture from an absolutely awesome kid. Very thoughtful of him. If you know YA, he's a very thoughtful guy. And he's always looking to help in different ways. And so I also saw another, I'd say, legend on this show, as in legend. We talk about him all the time, at Mr. Adam Thielen. Heck of a career coming to an end. Before his career ended, he made a donation to build a homeless shelter in Minneapolis, or help to fund building a homeless shelter in Minneapolis to give back to his community. Even though he obviously left the Vikings to go to the Steelers for a chance to play in the playoffs to end his career, he made it a point to do something for the community of Minneapolis. in a time that is obviously very needed for a variety of reasons. But I just think thoughtful. I'm trying to be more thoughtful. That's one of my things that. I feel like I'm a pretty thoughtful person. As in thoughtful, I have a lot of thoughts in my head all the time. Not scared.
I think you're thoughtful.
Yeah, but it's being more thoughtful and trying to reach out to people maybe that I haven't talked to for a while. Things like that. But yeah, let's just focus for me this week. That's my vibe, in that way. And yeah, also on top of that, kind of just being thoughtful on trying to find ways to get through the busyness of the winter season, finding ways to kind of think of improving aspects of your life. Enough of that. That's what a healthy thing. The vibe of the week. I love it. I love talking about that stuff.
I like that. We're going to end the show, eh?
Do you have anything else, Ian, before we sign off for tonight?
I do. This is not a Minnesota sport, but it is a sport. I'm going to be happy for them, regardless of the fact that I wish the Gophers could somehow find the same magic in the bottle. But congrats to Indiana Hoosier football for winning their first championship.
Oh, yeah, that happened live on the show here.
That is crazy. You know what? Good for them. I'm not going to be petty or bitter and be like, wish the Gophers could have. No, good for them. That's awesome. So it's fun to see new blood. And I feel like I don't know you. I think they're a fun team to. I think they're like a fun team to be able to pull for. You know what I mean? And,
yeah.
I like Kurt Signetti is just hilarious. All of his just dry
awesome.
So a good Midwest team that's not Michigan or Ohio State winning a national championship is never a bad thing. So
yeah, if you're an aspiring coach, you should look up what he does. And how he operates with this team, because he's doing, like you said, Google him, look him up, Google me. What a quote! But you know what? Indiana football might be the saving of college sports in general, because they're not dropping the bank for everybody. They're building a what's it called, an ethical program.
There you go.
They're building a culture, and building a culture, there's no dollar amount you can put on a culture. You can't. There's no dollar amount that you can pay to buy a culture.
Can't pay for culture.
The only way you can do that is by building it, baby. Shout out to Indiana. Thanks for reminding me of that, because I didn't watch a single second of that game, but.
Me neither.
I did support them, and I'm not a huge college sports watcher, but unless my Kansas Jayhawks are in the mix.
Rock chalk,
baby. With that being said, Ian, thanks again for coming on.
Always a pleasure.
You're a wealth of knowledge, and you are. We'll be in touch as the Wild get further into their season, and just remember, just keep putting pucks on the net.
Cycle, get them low to high to low. Yeah. Dump the puck in, get after it.
You gotta keep dumping the pucks in, and just putting pucks. Just keep putting pucks on the net, and good things might happen.
Good things will happen.
But Ian, take care. Again, remember, don't let your teams control your vibes. It's a new year, 2026.
New year. New year, new us.
Yeah. Keep your vibes high. Keep your vibes high. Here we go.
Yeah. Keep the vibes high.
Yeah. All right. Well, peace.
All right. Peace.